Hey y'all, this is Stories and Spoilers, the podcast, and I am so excited to share this episode with you guys. I hope you have a cozy drink. I hope you have a decadent dessert because this episode is going to be about sapphic black vampires. We're diving into The Cure of Us with Monique Goode. Without further ado, Monique, tell them more about yourself.
Yes, so I'm Monique Goode. I am a Black romance writer where I write queer people at the center of my stories, primarily in like street, urban lit, contemporary, sapphic, paranormal, and fantasy. This is my first book in my series, so I'm really excited to like introduce you guys to this whole new world that I've been crafting.
I am so excited to share with everyone this really beautiful and magnetic, kind of sexy story. Reading the back of the blurb of this beautiful book, it says, in Eastbourne Hills, where power and secrets collide, Sage Washington must prove herself to her father, a formidable cartel kingpin. A high stakes mission brings her into the orbit of Portia Denzel, a reckless daughter of the Vampire Society's chief elder. Bound by a fragile alliance between their families, Sage and Portia forge an unexpected connection that could shatter the delicate truce holding their worlds together. Can they heal from their past and defy the forces pulling them apart? Or will their bond become the ultimate risk? And this is the first book in the Blood Money series. So it's giving crime, supernatural intrigue, and passion. Ooh, and
Yeah.
it's sapphic. Ooh, the cover is a beautiful black woman whose eyes are closed, and she's got like pretty gold chains, and you see like a hand wrapped around her throat with like these blackish nails, and there's a hue of red, and like she looks like in awe and like so like just overcome with passion, and it's giving what it needs to give. So
Yeah.
I'm so excited to talk a little bit more about The Cure of Us. If you were to describe your book in 3 words, how would you describe it?
Sexy, sapphic, and messy.
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay, here for it. I
yeah.
wanted to know a little bit more about what inspired The Cure of Us.
Yeah. Oh, so fun fact, the cover is actually my friend's, and my wife actually took the picture because she's a photographer. Yeah. A lot of people are like, that looks like AI. I'm like, nah, I did a whole photo shoot.
Wow, that is
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah. So it's really special.
I'm here for it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what prompted me to write the story is actually like I'm also a content creator on TikTok for book talk, and I had read a it was a sapphic mafia book called Giovanna. I forget who it was by, but
Ooh.
it was primarily like white. So I was like, where are the black like masks, uh, like thugs and stuff like that? And I couldn't find them. So somebody was like, well, why don't you just write it? And I was like,
You know what?
maybe I
Yeah.
will. Yeah, I actually will. So then the idea of like the whole storyline came to me in the shower, and I was like, all right, I'm doing this. So I was like, I got to. So now everybody was like following me on my journey. So I was like, I have to follow through. And so I've always been a storyteller, but this really prompted me back into like the world of like fiction. So yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm curious, as an icebreaker question, I wanted to ask you, if you had to be a vampire, would you turn your significant other, or would you like start a new life and like run away and like, I don't know, be all
Yeah.
gothic and like hide in a castle somewhere? What would you do?
I would turn my significant other. I think I always talk about how I have this. Me and her go back and forth and laugh about how I have this vampire fantasy, to the point where we were vampire like HBCU people for Halloween, and we like did this whole shoot of her biting my neck. So I was like, I will
Ooh,
definitely turn you, or she would turn me. So yeah, I'm
wow.
down for the
Okay.
fantasy.
I'm here for it. Segueing back into your story, um, how would you describe this love story, and what made you want to create these characters, specifically Sage? I'm really
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah, so I think the story I wanted it to not only be like just sapphic and sexy and smutty because I love smut at the core of everything, but I wanted it to be like something that was raw and real, and that even though it's like a paranormal story, it's something that people can relate to and connect to.
Mm,
So when I created like the dynamic between her and Portia, I think it was important to establish that intimate connection because I think a lot of Sapphic romances can be stereotyped into being like just spicy, but I wanted to have an element where we explore healing, just the aspects of trying to heal from loss. And I think with Sage, it was important that we saw her because she's a kingpin's daughter. I wanted her to establish her dominance in that space. So just having that dynamic with her and her father, building trust, I think was important to, once she moves up the ranks, that she deserves that spot because she really worked hard for it.
Ooh, I adore that.
Yeah.
With the vampiric element, I'm curious as to how you crafted your vampires and the lore behind them.
Yeah. You know what? I don't know. It just became an idea. I remember just thinking like, oh, you know what? I know what it started as. So I was like, okay, if this is gonna be a mafia book and it has vampires, what's the connection? And I was like, what if they sell blood like people sell other things? And so I was trying to find a reason why they would do it and what the like element of need would be. And so that's why I came up with there being this outbreak where there's a need for it and they were to come together and find a common ground. And I thought it'd be more interesting that it's humans and vampires because, they kind of contradict each other in their existence. So I really wanted to create that tension and that forbidden aspect.
Okay, I love
Yeah.
that. Ooh, okay. Are there any movies that you've recently seen or shows that you saw that if you had the chance, you would rewrite it and make it sapphic?
Hmm. Oh my God, there's so many. You know what? Actually, P Valley, because I'm a girl that loves strip club content, and that's what inspired me
Mm.
to write my most recent episodic story on Substack. It's called Roll the Dice, and it's a sapphic strip club story.
Ooh.
So I kind of like got inspired by that, and I was like, what if this was a bunch of like lesbians or like just women that love women? So that's
Ooh.
the one that I really enjoyed.
I'm here for it. You know
Yeah.
what? I would give for like a sapphic sinners.
Ooh, I
Yeah.
like that. Okay.
Yeah. I would
Yeah.
love like the energy of like one person is definitely giving like smoke and the other person is giving stack. I don't want to
Mhm.
spoil sinners. If you haven't seen it by now, judgment.
You late, right. You have
Judgment.
to have
But
seen spoilers by now.
what are you waiting for? But for
Right.
folks who have seen it, I have to say that like there is something about like southern gothic, something
Mhm.
about like the stickiness of a summer night and like when you see the like porch light, you see all the like the bugs swirling behind it and like
Mhm.
nothing good happens after 2 a.m, especially in a small town. There's something about that where I'm like,
A good one.
ooh, with like an entity waiting in the darkness,
Yeah.
like maybe like a smoky bar in the south, like the only bar left, like a juke joint, and you see a
Yeah.
beautiful woman in like a suit, but her eyes are like gray or like red.
Mm. I feel like you gonna write a book, girl.
Listen, I'm thinking like I need like a Lapita. I need her to be like from across the room, like in the smoke, like pulling
Mm.
you in, but something's
Yeah.
off. Tell
Ooh, I love that. That makes me
listen.
also think of like what is it called? My interview with a vampire.
Exactly.
Yeah, that
I
would be like
need
really
it.
sexy. Yeah.
I need it. I Interview the Vampires is so insanely toxic. Like the
I
relationships are not
know.
healthy,
I
but
love it. It's
I
just the
love it.
being chased and hunted.
I I heard your heart's dancing. I'm saying you are staring at us from the shadows like a creeper. There's something about like this undying love where it that line between I'm in love with you and like I possess you. The opposite of love is
I get
possession. You
it.
can't own
Yeah.
someone. It just, unless it's the arrangement. But alas, I'm sitting here and I'm like, listen, y'all, healthy.
I
Let's
get
be
it. I
healthy.
get it. I get it. Because I like
Let's have some
unhinged
boundaries here. But
characters.
me trying to describe to $100 like to a vampire is like 100 years old. Let's have some boundaries here. They have no sense of time. Like you know
They
what I
don't
mean? Like
care.
that don't matter no more. But in the book world, I'm curious what your thoughts are about like the trope of being unhinged or the trope of like kind of the passionate, like your soul, like I long for you, or are you more into like a slow burn and like longing when you're reading or when you're writing?
Yeah. Reading, I love Unhinged. That's like my favorite, especially because I'm an urban fiction girly through and through. So I'm all for I saw you, you're mine, let's go. Now, this is a very thin line. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out how to read the stalker kidnapping tropes without being a little too cringe.
Okay, dark
But like,
romance.
I feel
Mm-hmm.
like if there's a, I don't know, like, I don't know. I found my boundaries and I just love the dominance of it. Like, I know it's toxic in real life, but I love it.
In the book world, I'm sitting here,
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, y'all, in the book world, I'm okay
Say
with
it,
certain
Wayne.
things.
Right.
In real world, I'm like, hey, yo,
No.
hold up. But in the book world, I have to say, like, there is just something about that, like, especially with vampires,
Hmm.
they literally feed off you. Like,
Right.
they are the equivalent of a shadow. Like, they could be terrifying, but in a romantic sense, in like a spicy sense, like vampires, sirens, like
Yeah.
wolves, like, ooh, there's just something about it. Like, it's
Yeah.
definitely giving like primal, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm,
I'm
mhm.
supposed to be running from you, but I'm running to you. Like, what is
Ooh.
happening right now?
I'm
So
down for
good.
it. Throw a
I'm
little
telling
primal king
you.
in there or a little rain king, it's
Listen, a
over.
little bit. Just a little
Yeah.
bit, you know? Speaking of spice, in The Cure of Us, how did you develop that like tension between them? And what made you want to add this spice to the story? I'm just
Yeah.
curious how you did it.
Yeah, so spice is my favorite, one of my favorite genres. So I knew I had to put it in there. I wanted to, as much as I can't stand a slow burn, I love slow burns. It's like a love hate
Mm.
relationship. I wanted to build that tension because I wanted them to create that intimacy through trust, through that connection. And then I like little teases. So like whether it's a fantasy or like we're almost there, but we're not, like edging.
Ooh.
So by the time you get there, it's kind of like worth it. So I think I wanted that little, like throw little gems in between and just make the big aha the moment.
I'm here for it. Okay. I love that. There is something about like I agree with what you said about like this the sapphic genre and how a lot of authors kind of go straight to the spice and there's not
Mhm.
always a lot of like build up. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I love smut as much as the next person. Like we love a good spicy book. I adore it. But as I've gotten older, I have come to appreciate like longing even
Hmm.
if it's only for like a chapter or two, like I need a little bit of like,
Yeah.
I want you, but like I can't have you for this reason, or like there's something about like them being in a crowded room, or like they're supposed to be enemies, but like they can't keep their eyes off each other.
Yeah.
Ooh, there's just something about
It's that
that, and like
tension.
it's giving tension. And I'm just sitting here, and I'm like the sparks in your book and the way that they we're pulled to each other, but also there's reasons why they really shouldn't be together. It's
Hmm.
definitely giving like Romeo and Juliet vibes. Like we're
Yeah.
supposed to hate each other, but I kind of want you. It was
Okay.
just so good. And I also loved how you really did center Black characters in the heart of your book. It's very rare that in vampiric kind of stories we get to see a
Hmm.
main character who is Black or a main character in an urban setting, and you made it so complex. And I wanted to know a little bit more about why that was so important to you for it to be an urban paranormal romance.
Yeah, so first foremost, I think Black romance is needed because growing up I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't find it. And then when I came across Book Talk, I was like, oh my God, like what do you mean? People are out here writing about us. So that was a key element that I really wanted to hone in on. And then I love urban romance specifically for the unhingedness. And I was
Mm.
looking for like where the masks at, because that's my type. And so I was like, let me go ahead and create my own. And then I'm obsessed with vampire lore. So I was like, let me pile that on top of it. So I just wanted to put everything that I loved all in one story, really, and then give the girls what they want because apparently other people won't like it too. So,
Yes, we stand a mask with the soft side, and we
hmm.
love an unhinged character. So, listen, I am here for it. I've always been looking for a vampire romance. Have you ever seen the Vampire Diaries?
Yeah, a long time ago.
I've been looking for a vampire who gives the energy of like Klaus, but gay. Like I want a
Ooh, okay,
sapphic, like unhinged, like they may have been your first kiss, but I'll be your last. Like I need it. I
okay.
need it. Like I need it. There's something
Yeah.
about that, like, and nothing serves that energy to me outside of like a dark romance or an urban romance. Like
Yeah.
no one gives unhinged, like I saw you across the room and now we're gonna get married. But not in a creepy way, y'all. There's a very, as was mentioned before, there's a thin line. There's a thin line, okay, between cute and creepy, cute and
Right.
creepy. But there is something about the way that you wrote that it was definitely giving like I fated mates. I have a love hate relationship, but there was something about this like instant like, ooh, who is this? Like,
Right.
oh, I love it. I'm curious. I know this is supposed to be a series. Is there any magical entities that you've always wanted to write about and that you hope to write about in the
Hmm.
future?
There's a few that I'm actually working on, but one that I haven't touched yet that I would like to touch is like a shifter, because now that I'm reading a lot more fantasy and also doing research and working on fantasy stories, is
Mm-hmm.
like understanding that there's other entities. So like I
Mm-hmm.
like shifters, they're kind of cool. Or like shadow people, something that's
Ooh.
untouched. Because I think there's a lot of other aspects that we get normally, like vampires and fairies
Mm-hmm.
and witches. But I want to touch the ones that you don't see a lot, and I don't see any sapphic shadow people, or maybe a sapphic siren. I don't know, just some entity that we don't
Ooh.
normally get.
I love this.
Yeah.
I am here for like a sapphic siren,
Mm.
sapphic shadow entity. I do know there is an author who I also am interviewing this autumn. Her name is Darva Green, and
Okay.
she writes sapphic monster romances.
Ooh. Okay.
Yes,
You have to give me some
and
recs. I
she
love
she
that.
wrote one. So there was a swamp entity
Oh wow.
where like she threw like a food item into the water and the swamp entity like comes out.
Oh, I know that's good.
It was so
Oh.
good. And I was like, And also in her story, she was able to grow appendages to help during spicy moments, which is fun. And that is, she came from the
Okay.
swamp. So that was a fun, spicy moment. If you're looking for shadow entities who come from your dreams and feed
Wow.
off of your spicy needs,
Like a
she came
succubus?
at midnight by Darva Green.
She came at
So
midnight.
yes,
I
this
love it.
girl, like, she's a ballerina, she's a dancer, she's in a both. All of her stories have an element of like toxic family situations, and these magical women end up kind of having to go into their dreams to navigate their magical powers. And this
Hmm.
girl, she has desires, and in her dreams, she calls out like for someone to come to her to comfort her to,
Wow.
and this entity hears her and she comes through her dreams, and she at first is like a nightmare. She literally like takes your fears and like feeds off them, and that her
Hmm.
shadows are like purpley hues, and
Yeah.
she ends up like the main character ends up seeing her and is like longing for her, and the entity is
Wow.
like
Who are you?
hello. She's like, I'm here to scare you, girl. I'm here to take your nightmares. But her nightmares are related to her family trauma, and the monster is
Okay.
actually trying to protect her from those nightmares. And they end up kind of, there's a way in the story that, and Darva's amazing for this, but there's a way in the story where this girl literally like creates like a spell, and she puts herself in the middle of the spell in like a spicy moment, and she's calling to her like, come to me, and then her entity comes from the shadows and she's like, ooh,
Mm.
hey, and I'm just, it's
Okay.
so good. Like,
Oh,
listen,
you have to send me those books because I
it is
really,
so
oh
good.
my
I'm sitting
God.
here and I was like, Sapphic,
Hold
shadows, monster. I was like, I know exactly what you need. Yes.
up.
So she came at midnight is giving shadow entity. And
Okay.
then there, if you like vampires and you like snake like women, kind of like
Hmm.
Medusa energy.
Medusa? Ooh, okay.
Yes. If you're into like gothic castle, Nosferatu, like she's, everyone thinks that she's spooky. It's Mistress Venom,
Okay.
um, and it is called Lady Venom Takes a Mistress by Kat Blackthorne.
Ooh, okay.
Yes. So Lady Venom in this like small town, there is like a maze. And in the beginning of the book, this girl, like, she's supposed to get married to this man. She does not want to be with him. And he's like, I'm gonna have you tonight. She's like, ew. She ends up running into the maze, and they're like, ooh, Lady Venom and all her snakes, they only like they kill a lot of men who go into the maze trying to like get to Lady Venom's castle. And she's like, So she ends up like killing them, and all these men are like, "Oh, she's monsters." The ones who survive are like, "She's a monster. She kills innocent men." Any girls who go in there disappear and never come back. And I'm sitting
Yeah.
here, I was like, So long story short, the main character is like, "I would rather run into that maze than marry that man." So she ends up running into that maze with her wedding dress on, and all these snakes surround her in the shadows, and then all these guys and horses are chasing her, and she ends up waking up in this castle. And Lady Venom is like, "So I saved you from
Hmm.
those men because you ran
Yeah.
into me." She's like, "I saved you. Also, you're gonna be my lady in waiting now." I was like,
Mm.
"What does that mean? I don't know what intimacy means. I don't even know what you are." And Lady Venom's eyes are like split, and like she's
Wow.
super sexy, and like she doesn't age. And then her best friend's a vampire, but that girl shadow bends out of there. You're like, "Ooh, who is that?" And long story short, Lady Venom is like, "I've had women in the past, but like they can't like satiate me." And you're like, "Girl, what's up with you? Like, what is your thing?" All I'm gonna say is that her snakes are helpful,
Because
and
of
the
what?
tongue does what the tongue needs to do. So that was super good. But yes, her bestie at one point in the story does like shadow bend out of there. You're like, "Who is that?" And that's for another time. But that was also a really good, dark, sapphic, like sexy thing. And also, you end up finding out there's a curse linked to Lady Venom. For every
Wow.
man she kills, it affects her like life. Like she does a lot of it to protect other people or to protect
Mhm.
herself. But there actually is a limit to how much she can do it.
Wow.
So it is
People's minds
so
are
good.
amazing.
I'm
Wow.
telling you, it was so good. I was like, yeah. But sapphic, like vampires, sapphic black vampires, you're the first author I've gotten the chance to read that has been able to combine those elements. And I've just been craving it, and you
Oh,
gave
amazing.
it.
Thank
Yes. So
you.
I also want to know if you could go into any character in your book and like live for a day, who would you want to be?
He's Salem. I love him because he is just so lit. He is so lit. He's a good time.
I'm here for it. Can you tell
Yeah.
listeners a little bit more about Salem and what role he plays in your book?
Yeah, so Salem is Sage's twin brother. He's also one of the girls. And he's like the comedic relief. And he's also on this mission with Sage because it is a bodyguard romance. So it's Sage and
Mm.
Salem that are looking after one of the main characters. And so they just can balance each other out because they're twins, of course, and they're just going on this journey together. So I
Ooh,
love him because he's a good time.
I am 100% here for it. I
Yeah.
wanted to know a little bit about your journey to writing and how this book has impacted your like literary life and your plans for the future with it.
Yeah, so I've always written. I've always wrote as a way of escaping. I
Mm.
actually wrote in elementary school and we like published this class book. Um, sorry, my alarm went off.
It's okay.
Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay. So I wrote a story with my class, my elementary school class, and we published it. And since then I kind of like really been into writing. So I went on to write poetry, to write fan fiction, and to write some self-help books. But it wasn't until a couple years ago when I got on TikTok that I started getting into fiction. So as I was on Book Talk, it really shaped my idea of what to write now because I feel like I want to not reach, well, I do want to reach more like queer people, but I want to tell stories that I want to hear and that other people
Mm.
don't see. So kind of like bridging the gap, or if we see like a straight version, maybe make a queer version. So I really want to continue to write stories that look like us and provide representation.
I absolutely adore that. Just out of curiosity, did your love story in any way impact the way that you write romance?
Absolutely.
Mm.
So most of I'm not saying this is my life and I've experienced it, but most of the time I wrote this in this book from experience, like the depth of the emotions, like just the connection between them,
Mm.
healing from pain. I feel like although you don't have, if you've never experienced these things that they've experienced, or even if it's, fiction or completely fantasy, there's some aspect of the characters you can relate to, whether it's grief, whether it's trust, whatever the case may be. I just try to, get into my own heart and really emanate those feelings onto the paper.
Ooh, I adore
Yeah.
that. I think it's really, really cool how you also were able to build three-dimensional characters. They felt very real. So when
Hmm.
they hurt, you hurt. And when they yearned and when they desired, you wanted them to get to what they
Yes.
desired and what they wanted. So I love
Hmm.
that. Would you like to share a line from The Cure of Us with listeners so they can get a little vibe for what the book has to offer?
Yes, I want to read the dedication page.
Okay.
And it says, "This is for the girls that like girls, thugs, vampires, and smut." I think it
Ooh,
sums up the collagelation of all of the things in the
I am absolutely
story.
here for it. Okay. And then this is a question I had because when I was reading your book, I did like low key listen to music and like vibe with it. If
Yes.
you had to recommend a song that matches the energy of The Cure of Us, what song would you choose?
Ooh, so I actually made a playlist,
Ooh,
and let me see. So
definitely send that my way because I can put that in the links for the show notes.
yeah, for sure. So hmm. I would say Distraction. I don't know if I'm saying her name right, but by Sinead Harden. Because I feel like the energy of like the slow, sexy sensualness of it, and then just they both needed a distraction from what was going on in their life. And that connection is kind of like an escape in a sense.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I listened to the song Ripe by Tan Riel when I was listening to this.
Oh, I love Terrio.
I
Ooh,
do too. I was listening to this, that and Mama Saturn on
I love
repeat.
that song.
I love that song. Tanrielle
Yes.
has such a beautiful R&B, like her voice, like she could be like a dark witch. Like her voice is like
Yeah.
the stirring of tea. It just goes forever.
Mhm.
And she's also
She's
gorgeous.
gorgeous. Yes.
What? She'd be a great vampire. I was like,
Okay. Yep.
yeah.
That's
Would you open the
it.
door to her and Sinners? Would you let her in?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Come on.
I
Come
would.
on
I would.
in.
And for folks who don't get that reference, see Sinners. Like, what the heck?
Right.
But this book was so, so beautiful. Where can everyone find The Cure of Us?
Yeah, so you can go on my website at moniquegoode.com if you want to sign paperback and support a Black indie author. And it's also available on Kindle and Amazon. And also, newly, it's in Love and Color Books. They have an online bookstore. So I just recently, they announced today that I'm in their online store. So you can go up there too as well. Thank
Congratulations.
you.
That is amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Where can everyone find you on social media?
Yeah, so you can find me at by Monique Good on Instagram and Threads, and then good.reads on TikTok.
Awesome. Thank you
Yeah,
all for listening. Thank you so much, Monique, for coming on
thank
the
you.
podcast. This episode's coming out during spooky season. So the vampires and sapphic vibes and the gothic energy is everything you could want. Check out The Cure of Us. Follow Monique on social media and get a copy of The Cure of Us. It's super short and it's definitely worth your time. Plus, it's going to be a series. So hop on it right now. Everyone, like this on YouTube if you're listening. Follow on Spotify. Leave a little rating and have an absolutely wonderful day. Bye.